Good afternoon, and welcome back to campus. I'm Tony Coffey, class of 1956, and a member of the AABC Reunion Committee and the Awards Committee. I hope you've all enjoyed your lunch out on our beautiful new Futter Field, which I think for many of you probably is the first time you've seen it, so welcome. I'm happy to be here in person to celebrate an accomplished slate of awardees that I was honored to be a part of selecting from the nominations from the alumni community. So welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome to all of you who are joining us virtually from around the world. Our first order of business this afternoon is to share an update from the Alumnae Association of Barnard College. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Amy Veltman, class of 1989, who is completing her third and final year as president of the AABC. If you've had a chance to read Amy's comments in the most recent issue of the Barnard magazine, you have an idea of what a joy it has been to work with her. Always positive, endlessly creative, the perfect leader in an extraordinary time. Without precedents to light the way, she led our alumni community through uncharted territory, carving out new paths without losing sight of treasured traditions. It was and will remain her gift to us, and I hope you will join me in thanking her for it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Amy Veltman, class of 1989, and as Tony mentioned, president of the AABC and an alumni trustee. Welcome to Reunion. I'd like to begin this meeting of the Alumnae Association of Barnard College, or the AABC, with some recognitions and thank yous. This reunion is already extraordinary, drawing from 8 decades of alumni, bringing them back to campus from as near as Morningside Heights and as far as Japan, Egypt, Italy, and Australia. Amazing. A huge thank you to Gina Borden, class of 14, our wonderful reunion chair, for the endless energy and devotion you've brought to your inaugural reunion as reunion committee chair. Reunion 2023 has already been moving, informative, and fun, and we're just getting started. We know it's thanks to the time and energy that you and your committee have put into planning. These 3 days would also be impossible without the tireless efforts of the development and alumni relations team. As we return to campus, your feats of coordination, attention to detail, and the alumni experience make the heavy lift feel weightless. Thank you so much. Truly astounding. And a very big thank you to all of our volunteers, class officers, class reunion committees, and the time, creativity, and love that you have already put into Reunion 2023. A special hello and welcome back to our past presidents of the Alumnae Association that I know of that are here this weekend. Jyoti Menon, 01. Elise Postilnik, 53. And Frances Sadler, class of 72. Thank you for bringing it all back to Barnard. This is my third and final reunion as president of the AABC, and I'm honored to be here leading this meeting and representing our global community of over 37,000 alums. A few words about my term as AABC, which began during lockdown in July of 2020, when I set out 3 areas of strategic focus for our board, which continued to be relevant. I'm going to say a few words about each to let you know where we are and what we've done. So strategic focus area number 1 is engaging more alumni beyond the New York vicinity. This was a no-brainer at the beginning of the pandemic when there was no choice but to be virtual. As we've emerged from the crisis phase of the pandemic, Regional Clubs and Networks Committee Chair Michelle Lynn, class of '82, helped us keep this priority in focus. As an AABC board, we came up with recommendations about what to keep in place and what to build to continue engaging alums around the world. The board recommended expanding Millie's list to recommend alumni-run businesses and to continue to hold local regional events in concert with the important events happening here in New York City, such as Giving Day and the annual gala. And lastly, the board recommended to make virtual events interactive rather than one way whenever possible, because let's face it, it's just more fun. So that's number 1. That's where I think we've done. I think we'll continue to have new tools to engage alums beyond the New York City area. Focus area 2 was increasing a sense of inclusion in the alumni community, which is something tough to quantify. But how can more alums feel this event was for me? The AABC board made 2 recommendations to advance this priority. I'm actually only going to deep dive into one, which was that for all events that our committee chairs are a part of planning, at least 2 perspectives be represented at the head of the table, not just introducing the event, but at the head of the table. We do not prescribe what these diverse perspectives are, whether they're gender expression, generation, geography, political view, ethnicities, socioeconomic background, religion, race, or other lived experience, because we know it when we see it, and we feel it when it's missing. With an admit rate of 6.5% for next year's incoming class, may I just repeat that, 6.5%, our excellence as a college is indisputable. But make no mistake, the diversity of our community is our excellence. As it says in the college mission statement, Barnard prepares its graduates to flourish in different cultural surroundings in an increasingly interconnected world. The bounty of opportunity to engage with people whose experiences in the world are different from your own, from our own, from my own, is one of the greatest gifts of continuing involvement with Barnard as an alum, literally expanding our worldviews, which is really what education is. I hope inclusion and belonging will be a continued focus for our alumni community. Lastly, the third focus area is increased participation in alumni giving. Participation is the measure of the percentage of how many of our alums give back to the college. And I'd like to take my last occasion on the soapbox to clear up a couple misconceptions about giving money to Barnard that I've heard over the years. Misconception number 1, Barnard has a lot of money. No, we don't. Our endowment is minuscule compared to comparable institutions, whether women's colleges, Ivy Plus, or other, and we're in one of the more expensive cities in the country. A small endowment means that we can draw less money every year to support operating expenses, and that in turn keeps tuition higher than any of us want it to be. Your gifts to the annual fund are critical to keep the college running as the cost of a Barnard education is not fully covered by the cost of tuition. Misconception numero dos. Gifts to Columbia University help Barnard. No, they don't. Barnard's finances are separate from the university's. In many instances, Barnard has to give money to Columbia University for use of the libraries, participation in athletics, and the agreement between Barnard and Columbia. Gifts to Barnard College are the only gifts that Barnard College receives. And misconception number 3, Barnard only wants people's big gifts. If in a given year, a gift that would be big for you is $10, then yes, this is true. The college hopes, and I hope, that you'll make Barnard one of your philanthropic priorities, no matter what dollar amount that is for you. There are many causes that support urgent needs in the world now, but I consider giving back to Barnard an act of hope for the future. I have boundless faith in the Women Plus who have a Barnard education to make the world a better place. So now for how we did. As the alumni population keeps growing, it's become increasingly challenging to lift our participation percentages. However, we have increased the number of individual donors, so yay us. We've also normalized at events and in communications more, I think, asking for your gifts to the college. Especially as an institution dedicated to educating women, I believe it's important to emphasize you don't get what you don't ask for. All AABC events, save the gala, which is solely dedicated to raising funds for financial aid, are free to attend if you don't have means to attend otherwise. However, if you can donate, a gift to Barnard is always greatly appreciated, especially for those of you celebrating milestone reunions. That's where we are with the 3 strategic areas of focus. I hope we continue to grow in these areas, even if my successor chooses new strategic priorities. I would like to thank you for the gift and the honor of serving as AABC president over the last 3 years. I'm boundlessly grateful to work with the succession of engaged and fabulous board members, the dedicated development and alumni relations team, especially my partner, guide, and friend, Karen Sendler, Executive Director of Alumni Relations. Additionally, I'd like to thank all the members of the student body, staff, faculty, and alum communities I've had the privilege of interacting with during my term. Thank you all so much. Again, thank you all for joining us this weekend. Each person here brings something truly exceptional to this community. Each person here helps make our Barnard community the best in the world. And now for the business part. Yes, that wasn't the business part. The real businessy part is coming of our afternoon. So your AABC meeting and awards ceremony program includes some of the details of the AABC board's annual report, the really nitty-gritty stuff that you don't need me to read to you. However, here's the fun part. Each year, we hold elections to appoint new members of the AABC Board of Directors. This year's elections ratified the slate for select positions and hosted elections for an incoming president, alumni trustee, my role, vice president, alma mater's chair, which is the committee supporting mothers who went to Barnard, a young alumni committee chair, a director at large, and 2 open positions on the nominating committee. As always, the nominating committee works to recruit a slate that is diverse across many measures. Every year, people ask, how does this process take place? Well, we adhere to a process that's specified in the bylaws, and I think that it's important to understand that not all of the people the NomCom reaches out to are in a place in their lives where it makes sense for them to take on a significant 2 to 3 year commitment. This year, the nominating committee, headed up by Jamie Rubin, class of '01, did a wonderful job of finding a diverse slate of nominees willing and able to serve. I am very excited to announce the alumni who will be joining us on the AABC board come July 1st. Our president alumni trustee is Suji Park, class of 1990. You'll be finding out for yourselves soon enough how energetic and fabulous Suji is. Our vice president will be Chinita Allen, class of 1994. The new Alma Maters Committee Chair is Galen Bepler, class of '05. If you're here when I read your name, feel free to raise your hand or stand up so we know where you are. Jocelyn Chang, class of '18, is the new Young Alumni Committee Chair. And our new director at large is Glorabel Perez, class of '05. I'm also pleased to announce the 2 alums who have been elected to join the nominating committee. Kate Scarborough, class of '14. There she is. And Tirza Warman, class of '78. There she is. Additionally, because Suji Park will be stepping down from her current role as treasurer to serve as AABC President and Alumni Trustee, we use the process outlined in the bylaws and supervised by Bylaws and Governance Chair Jill Scheuer, class of '76, to appoint Suji's replacement. Margaret Robotham, class of '12, has graciously agreed to serve the remaining year on Suji's term as treasurer. Thank you to everyone who participated by being a candidate, by considering being a candidate, by facilitating the process, encouraging fellow alums to vote, and voting yourselves. We're all better when we all raise our voices. Thank you. Finally, you'll find the treasurer's report in your program. It includes information about the AABC Scholarship Fund recipient last year, Reese Ransweiler, class of 2026, a first-year student from Longmont, Colorado. That concludes the official business meeting portion of our program. So now, let's shift gears to begin the Alumnae Association Awards ceremony. Woohoo! Let's turn our attention to some of the women who make us so proud of the college and our incredible alumni community, the 2023 AABC awardees. Every year, the AABC bestows 5 awards upon select alums celebrating milestone reunions. The selection process begins in the fall when members of our alumni community from any class submit nominations on behalf of their peers. The AABC Awards Committee, led by Mary Rosenberg, class of 1978, was then tasked with the difficult job of considering all of the outstanding nominees and carefully selecting the awardees. This year's honorees have made and continue to make noteworthy contributions to our culture and society. Okay, now the awards. The Award for Service to Barnard was established in 1975 and is presented to alumni volunteers for exemplary service and devotion to the college. This year's recipient of the award for service to Barnard is Linda Sweet, class of 1963. Represent 63. Do you see that, Linda? They're standing up. All right, you'll have another chance to give Linda a standing ovation when she comes to this stage, but first buckle in for a long list of accomplishments and service to the college. After earning her degree in art history from Barnard, Linda received a master's degree from New York University and a certificate from Columbia Business School's Institute for Nonprofit Management. She then went on to an accomplished career in some of the nation's premier museums, beginning as an educator at the Brooklyn Museum and then as Dean of the Department of Public Education at the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston. Did you hear that murmur? She was also a founding partner and director of the museum practice at Management Consultants for the Arts, where she is now partner emerita. She has taught art history and museum education at the Fashion Institute of Technology, Bank Street College, and Lesley College. And in 1974, she was awarded a grant from the New York State Council of the Arts to study museums in Europe. Well done. As an active member of the American Alliance of Museums, Linda was a founder of that organization's education committee and served as its vice chair from 1978 to 1980. In 1976, she was elected to the Council of the Alliance and for 8 years served on the membership committee. Linda is also a past president of Art Table, a national membership organization of women in the visual arts, and she currently serves on the board of the Samuel Dorsky Museum of Art in New Paltz, New York. Linda, no one who is familiar with you can be surprised to hear that your resume includes such impressive professional and volunteer commitments. You have shown no less of a commitment to Barnard, and it began the moment you set foot on campus. You served as treasurer of the student government and then as vice president for the student body. And as an alumna, you have served as a class officer, encouraging greater engagement from the already venerable class of 1963. They really represent, including by volunteering to solicit donations. You've also served on the AABC's nominating committee, fellowship committee, and leadership committee, and you took on leadership roles by chairing the annual fund committee and the AABC board. In 2015, you became a trustee of the college, a position you held until 2019. During that time, you were co-chair of the Committee on Academic Affairs, served on the Governance Committee, and were a member of the Council on Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity. On every committee, at every meeting for the past 60 years, anytime you have been involved, you have played a critical role in moving our college forward. You are a shining example of devotion and service to your alma mater. Linda, it's a great honor on the occasion of your 60th reunion to invite you to the stage to receive the 2023 award for service to Barnard.
Wow. When it's your 60th reunion, it's not surprising that your undergraduate days are a blur. I do remember vividly my art history courses and professors and I am so grateful to Barnard for the opportunity to be an art history major and for instilling in me a love for the visual arts and for museums, which became the focus of my professional life. And now that I'm retired, I get to again work in one at the Whitney Museum as a docent where I lead public tours. That I am a docent and a volunteer was not preordained. At the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston in the late 1970s, I had 80 volunteers in my department. Although they did not report to me, they thought they did and acted as if they did, so I was inundated with complaints on a daily basis. They were the bane of my existence. I vowed I would never be a volunteer or work with volunteers again, ever. But I came to realize that volunteers are critical to nonprofits, be they museums or educational institutions, and that I could learn from those 80 docents how to be a good volunteer by doing exactly the opposite of what they did. To paraphrase JFK, it's not what the organization can do for you, but what you can do for the organization. As a volunteer, I work for the Whitney Museum and I work for Barnard College. If I don't like something, I can't complain. I can quit, or I can present it as an opportunity for change and take responsibility for carrying out that change. And so, unlikely as it was, I have embraced volunteer roles. But in so doing, I have no doubt that I am getting much more from my work with Barnard than I have given to Barnard, which brings me to this award. I can't help but question its merit. Do I even deserve a medal when I am so happy doing what I do, when I get such satisfaction from it? So I was intrigued by an article I saw in the New York Times recently by Roger Rosenblatt called, "I Won a Prize, So What?" He acknowledges that no one really thinks they deserve a medal or a prize. And mind you, he was talking about the Nobel Prize or the Oscar. But here we are. He questions whether prizes do any good and whether they are shallow or are they meaningful, motivating, or stultifying. Nonetheless, in a world that is, in his words, tearing itself apart on a daily basis, it would be an even grimmer world if there were no prize winners to announce and celebrate. And he concludes that a prize is indeed a wonderful thing. But he continues, what ultimately matters is the work. So I will, for as long as I can, continue to work for the Whitney Museum and the Dorsey Museum at SUNY New Paltz and a teeny tiny little cultural center near my home in Putnam County, but especially for Barnard, a college that has truly become exactly the school I would want to attend today. So it is with gratitude and humility and some embarrassment and still a smidgen of doubt that I happily accept this medal. Thank you so much. I am truly honored.
No wonder I've always found it a total delight to work with Linda. Congratulations again, and thank you again for all you've done and continue to do for Barnard. Next, I am delighted to present the Millicent Carey McIntosh Award for Feminism, for which there are 2 recipients this year. But before I do, I invite you to enjoy a video tribute to Millicent Carey McIntosh, which was produced and edited by Marianne Lofrumento, class of '77.
Well, many people are pessimistic about the future of women's colleges, and I'm not one of them. A woman's college is very important in the education of a woman. A women's college can plan directly for the needs of women. It can give them opportunities for undergraduate activity and for responsibility that a coeducational institution cannot do, where the girls tend to take second place or third or fourth place. It can plan for women scholars and can give them opportunity for promotion and for the top jobs. So I think that there are many functions for women's colleges if we believe that women should be educated. Of course, I think that Barnard has the best of both possible worlds because it has the advantages of being a separate women's college and the enormous advantage of its connections with the university.
Such a marvelous tribute. Established in 2004, the Millicent Carey McIntosh Award for Feminism honors alumni who personify Barnard's commitment to the education of women and who exemplify our graduates' influence throughout society. Our two winners this year are Jessica Taylor Cannon, class of 2003, and Gabriella Karifa Johnson, class of 2013. Jessica Taylor Cannon is a health educator and student wellness advocate who served the Barnard community for 20 years through the Wellness Spot Health Promotion Program, formerly known as Well Woman. Inspired by her time as a student peer educator from 2001 to 2003, she joined the staff of the Wellness Spot in 2004, later becoming Director of Health Promotion and Education. In her role, she provided support and education to students exploring the complexity of health and wellness, both their own and that of their communities. Working with the peer educators she trained and supervised, Jessica expanded the programming and scope of the Wellness Spot, ensuring that students had a comfortable place on campus to use their voices, ask difficult questions, support one another, and embody the program's unofficial motto, "Come as you are." Jessica has a passion for equitable and inclusive reproductive health care and was integral to the Primary Care Health Services Initiative on long-acting reversible contraceptives, providing contraceptive counseling to all Barnard students seeking these options and facilitating the peer educator IU doula program. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. While working tirelessly to support Barnard students at 3 different health centers, she found time to earn a master's degree in counseling psychology from Teachers College of Columbia University. She has also always found time to be available to students, mentoring them, checking in with them, and being the heart and soul of the Wellness Spot. The results can be seen in countless students she has inspired, many of whom have gone on to top medical schools, worked in health clinics abroad, or organized women's health initiatives here in New York City. and many of whom wrote to the awards committee testifying about the enormity of your impact on their lives. After leaving Barnard in 2021, Jessica and her husband moved to her hometown, where she now provides health education and counseling at the Foxcroft School, a prestigious school for girls in Middleburg, Virginia. Jessica, at a time when women's health care faces restrictions across the country, your commitment to women's health and education truly represents the very best of Barnard. It is the pleasure on the occasion of your 20th reunion to invite you to the stage to receive the Millicent Carey McIntosh Award for Feminism.
Oh my goodness. Snuck a part I didn't know about in there and it made me really emotional. Whew, thank you so much. I want to start by sharing a special thank you with two other class of '03 alums. In my work here at Barnard, I often reassured very anxious students who hadn't yet found the friends they expected that if it takes you a little bit longer than you expect to make your community and find your people, that is normal and okay. But if you are very lucky, you can also make lifelong friends who live right across the hall from you in your very first days on campus. Sarah and Molly, I love you very much. So I did a little research myself on Mrs. Mack when I learned about this award. Her obituary in the New York Times is really worth a read if you have not seen that before. And I discovered something that really tickled me. Along with all of her other incredible accomplishments, she was a sex ed teacher. Not widely advertised, I don't think. But that is something we have in common. Sex ed is one of my very favorite things to teach. And I love the way Barnard can always surprise you. Always something new to learn, right? And that connection with Mrs. Mack actually is also the start of my journey with the Wellness Spot, back to those very first days on campus. I was on the 4th floor of Brooks, right? For anybody who lived in Brooks, that's right. Just relaxing, and someone, it might even have been you, Molly, came up and said, "You will not believe what they are doing downstairs." You go down, right? You hear that? It was the Wellness Spot peer educators giving a sex ed workshop. I was starstruck. I absolutely did not come from a school environment that allowed for that kind of open conversation about health and wellness. And I could not believe I was now in a place where you could have that kind of honest, comfortable dialogue. It changed my life. It led to me applying to be a peer ed myself, which led to my work with the program. And here I am today. I kept that feeling of delighted openness in my work as a staff member in the Wellness Spot, and working with the peer educators to create a welcoming, open space where students could come in, where no question or uncomfortable conversation was off limits, where they were encouraged to be exactly who they were and who they were growing into, is something that I am so proud of. Not to mention a space where, yes, learning and growth is emphasized, but also joy and rest. Comfy couches and craft supplies are very big in the Wellness Spot. A former coworker of mine from the former coworker and forever friend from the Furman Counseling Center, Marissa Mabley, likes to say that I grew up in the Wellness Spot, because if you combine my years as a student and as a staff member, I was there from age 20 to age 40. Oh my God, right? From that very first workshop, that eye-opening workshop, to today, I can't think of a better place than Barnard to grow your ideas, your sense of self, and your community. And I am so grateful to be in community with all of you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Jessica, and thank you for those inspiring remarks. Our second recipient of the Millicent Carey McIntosh Award for Feminism is Gabriella Karifa Johnson. Gabriella is not able to be here in person today, but she sent in a video acceptance. But please allow me to tell you a little bit about her accomplishments. Gabriella is from the class of 2013, and she's a New York-based stylist and fashion editor who, with a keen eye for up-and-coming designers and a narrative-led approach aimed at diversifying representation in fashion, has become one of the most respected and sought-after professionals in the fashion industry. Known for her looks pairing disparate colors, textures, and silhouettes, Gabriella has worked as an associate fashion editor at Vogue and fashion director of Garage magazine. In 2021, she became the first Black woman to style a cover of Vogue. Now, as the magazine's global contributing fashion editor at large, she has styled 14 international covers of Vogue, featuring such luminaries as Amanda Gorman, Serena Williams, and Vice President Kamala Harris. She has also styled a cover of Vanity Fair and worked with global brands such as Calvin Klein, Stuart Weitzman, and Converse. Gabriella's growing list of accolades include being named Stylist of the Year by Essence Fashion House, one of the Fashionista 5 by Fashionista magazine, and one of the Business of Fashion 500, a group of the 500 most influential people in, yes, fashion. For the past 3 years, she has been a member of the Advisory Council for the International Woolmark Prize, one of the most prestigious awards in fashion. But achieving such professional success in just 10 years since her graduation is not the only thing that makes Gabriella stand out, though it is extraordinary. What's truly remarkable about her is that she has built a career marked by uplifting others and championing diversity in an industry that is not known for having a big tent. She has done this by working with inclusive brands and designers and leading the conversation about who and what is considered fashionable. Her recent collaboration with Target for its Future Collective brand is a perfect example, as it provided women of all sizes and tastes, including me, with affordable and beautiful clothes. Most recently, Gabriella styled the Vogue cover and spread featuring Margot Robbie in anticipation of the upcoming Barbie movie, which is directed by fellow Barnard alum Greta Gerwig, class of '06. Are we taking over the cultural world or what? By telling stories through women's fashion, Gabriella has made sure to tell a more inclusive story about our world. And she is a storyteller who has never been shy to speak up, even when that means attracting the ire of those with global platforms. And if you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. Gabriella, you are an inspiration to women everywhere who seek to use their voices to enact change and better our world, making it a more beautiful, colorful, and inclusive place. If that is not feminism, I cannot imagine what is. Barnard is proud of the example you set. Because Gabriella is traveling for work right now, which may be for the best because I would have been all weird and fangirl about meeting her, she has sent in the following video to receive the award.
To the bold and brilliant students, alumni, and esteemed faculty of my beloved alma mater, Barnard College, thank you for the incredible honor of naming me this year's recipient of the Millicent, Carey, McIntosh Award for Feminism. I'm not sure what kind of slideshow is playing behind, before, or after this acceptance speech, but I can tell you that it was rather difficult to find any traditional brochure-style wholesome pictures of my time at Barnard. And as it should be. From the ages of 17 to 21, I had the most fun of my life here. I learned here. I worked harder than I've ever worked here. I spent sleepless nights in the library and also at 1020. I made colossal mistakes here and learned colossal lessons. I grew here. I grew up here. That's why this award is so special to me, because I am who I am today, a proud and stubborn feminist, in no small part because of my time at Barnard. It was here that I first learned the real meaning of the word feminist. It was here where I understood the intersectionality of it all. It was the experience, the struggle of trying to make my own way in life, in white spaces, in thin spaces, in wealthy spaces, in exceptionally rarefied air, that furnished my desire to make the fashion industry, and indeed the world, a more equitable place. One in which women and all disenfranchised or marginalized communities can not only see themselves in the spaces designed to exclude them, but claim their rightful seat at the table. And if all else fails, it was here that I cultivated the tools to pave the avenues needed to dismantle the old table and assemble a new one with room for all of us. Whether it was in my art history classes where Professor Rosalind Deutsch introduced me to Barbara Kruger and the transformative power of text and image and magazine media, or in my jazz music course at Reed Hall in Paris, where Professor Robert O'Mealy challenged us to hear with our eyes and see with our ears. Revolution is in the DNA and curriculum of this college. Breaking the rules is what we were taught to do. I'm not fearless, but I'm not paralyzed by the idea of stepping into my own power. That's because of Barnard. I still struggle with imposter syndrome from time to time, but I also know that from some of our most vulnerable moments comes some of our most valuable work. That is also from Barnard. I look forward to another 10 years of doing exactly what you all taught us to do, breaking the damn rules. Thank you so much for this award, and I hope our paths cross soon.
Congratulations again to Gabriella, and thank you for being such an inspiration. Now, it is my great pleasure to invite to the stage the president of Barnard College, Sian Leah Beilock, to present our Distinguished Alumna Award. Please help me welcome President Beilock.
Thank you, Amy. It's been such a pleasure to work with Amy in her role as AABC president and trustee. Her tenure as president was not through the easiest time, thanks to a global pandemic, but she always went above and beyond what was written into her job, and she did it with humor and good cheer. And with her funny and encouraging outreach to the alumni community, especially around her Barnard Sock Show, which I love the best, I think she helped a lot of us get through challenging days. So while I'm here to present the Alumni Awards, I do want to take a moment to recognize Amy and her extraordinary contributions to the life of the Barnard community. And the entire AABC board, you continue to be such an inspiration. You are all doing so much for Barnard, for our current students, and for the college. And our students look to you when they think about where to matriculate, when they think about what it means to be part of the Barnard family. So we're just honored here to have your partnership. I now have the honor of presenting the Distinguished Alumna Awards. This award was established in 1967 to honor and inspire outstanding Barnard graduates. It is given each year at reunion to alumni from milestone years who personify the ideals of Barnard's academic excellence and who have achieved considerable public or professional distinction in their chosen field of endeavor. This year, I'm pleased to report we have 3 recipients, which is so exciting. I'll read a little bit about each recipient and then I'll ask them to come up on the stage to get their award. Our first recipient is Noemi Goldberg-Haas, Barnard class of 1983. We are pleased to honor your distinguished leadership as a choreographer and teacher who has moved countless people to dance. After earning your degree from Barnard, you received an MFA from the Tisch School of Arts at NYU, and then launched a storied career in dance, a career that was a continuation for you, having trained since the age of 8 with the American School of Ballet and having performed with the Pacific Northwest Ballet. As a choreographer, you have created dazzling work in concert dance, theater, opera, and film, and have worked with luminaries such as the composer, Michael Nyman, and the Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, Tony Kushner. But you've never been content solely to create. You have also been driven to inspire and help others. Working with the Los Angeles Music Center, you conceived a unique traveling chamber piece called Talking Dance, which toured for 12 years, reaching over 750,000 students throughout Southern California. You also founded the successful intergenerational and mixed ability dance company, Los Angeles Modern Dance and Ballet. In 2009, you founded and served as the artistic director for Dances for a Variable Population, a multi-generational dance company and educational organization committed to promoting strong and creative movement among older adults of all abilities, enabling them to build creativity, improve their mental and physical health, strengthen social connections, and enhance their quality of life. Through your work with older adults, you've developed the influential Movement Speaks education program, which you have been invited to present all over the country and abroad, and which you now teach here in Manhattan. Your book, Moving Through Life, The Essential Lessons, written in collaboration with Michaela Mahoney, class of 2011, will be published next year. In recognition of your extraordinary leadership in the field of dance education and your development of creative approaches to aging, you have received the Gibney Art and Action Award, the President's Award for Performing Arts from the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, the Dance USA Fellowship, and just this past February, the New York State Dance Education Association Lifetime Impact in Dance Education Award. Your distinguished commitment to education and well-being through the power of dance represents the very best of Barnard ideals. Now, as we celebrate your 40th reunion, we are delighted to honor your leadership in dance education with the 2023 Distinguished Alumna Award. Noemi is here today with her friend from college and colleague, Catherine Grody, board member of Dance for a Variable Population, DVP, who will read Naomi's acceptance speech on her behalf. Naomi and Catherine, will you please join me on stage?
Well, before I speak on behalf of Naomi, I just want to say I was born in California, a cosmic error I corrected 50 years ago, but Barnard was always like, oh my God, those smart women are there. You know, I've passed this place for 50 years, I've never been inside. And I want to thank you, Naomi, for giving me the courage to come in and find out you're not only smart, but funny and creative and diverse and exceptional. And this is an amazing place. And I understand why it helped this amazing person. Naomi is still our leader at DVP. Her public speaking days are behind her. And she has asked me to be her voice, which is just very exciting for an actor that isn't a dancer. So my name is Naomi Goldberg-Haas, and I'm a Barnard 1983 graduate, and I'm so honored to receive this year's Distinguished Alumna Award. It is because of what I learned and experienced at Barnard that led to paths that helped me imagine and accomplish all I have since graduating.
Barnard allowed me not only to imagine what was possible, but also gave me the tools to enable change. I am the founding artistic director of Dances for a Variable Population. My company is a leader in a field of creative aging, yes. It is both a multi-generational dance company and educational organization. We promote strong and creative movement among older adults of all abilities, enabling them to experience creativity, improve their mental and physical health, strengthen social connections, and enhance quality of life. We serve over 1,500 students every month, facilitate 24 weekly classes over Zoom, in person, outdoors, in senior centers, and even over the telephone. Our core curriculum, developed by me in collaboration with DVP, is called Movement Speaks, currently taught by 16 teaching artists, and our methods are replicated nationwide throughout our nationally recognized training program. Our artistic vision is to bring participatory dance experiences and performances to older adults throughout New York City and to train teaching artists to expand our impact across New York and beyond. DVP's free workshops and public performances promote a democratic, interactive, and inclusive vision of dance that highlights the power and beauty of older bodies, and younger bodies are invited to dance with us too. Just FYI. All of this, all these ideas, I began exploring and articulating and growing because of the early support that I was given at Barnard. Barnard education introduced me to beyond ballet, beyond what was possible. I was no longer a bunhead. I was so much more. As a freshman, I joined as officer of the board in student government, but I barely understood my role beyond recording notes of meetings. But quickly, I wised up to issues at Barnard. New thoughts, allowing Columbia to join with Barnard? Why? Question why? Rallying for more co-gender bathrooms, more available public space, diversity, whether Barnard students should study Columbia's core curriculum, and on and on. I could make a change. I could be heard. I found my voice. What a voice. Starting as an English major, I soon transferred to a major called Program in the Arts with a concentration in dance under the leadership of mentors that are still my mentors, both at Juilliard and Barnard, a Professor Janet Suarez, Cunningham-trained Sandra Gentner. I flourished. They allowed me to study Alexander technique, improvisation downtown, and I love this, even a class called relaxation, where if you fell asleep, you got a good grade. After a stint in Seattle with Pacific Northwest Ballet, I longed to return to the land of possibility and making a difference in people's lives. In my new major, I explored the structures that make dance history, the inherent values of alignment, coordination, and beauty, from studying the fall and recovery of Jose Limon, the contraction of Martha Graham, and the loosely styled personal movement of Twyla Tharp. All practical for living well, coordinated, aligned, and beautiful. All this was available to me at Barnard, and I could begin a dialogue to share my discoveries, teaching my peers and new Barnard residents. Yes, I was a resident counselor at the newly built 49 Claremont dorm for 2 years in a small studio adjacent to the old Barnard Hall. Now, teaching dance to my peers, children, and elders for over 40 years. It all began right here at Barnard, and I am so grateful to Barnard for beginning my journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Naomi, and thank you, Catherine. We have 2 more awards. The next one goes to Kathleen Duran, Barnard class of 1998. We are pleased to honor your leadership as a storyteller and community builder in the arts. After Barnard, you earned an MBA from Fordham University and then entered a distinguished career in marketing and communications, working for esteemed organizations like Usedan Center for the Arts, the Boston Symphony Orchestra, the New World Symphony in Miami, and the Cleveland Institute of Music, one of the world's most prestigious conservatories, where you are currently the chief marketing officer. That record alone is impressive, but what has set you apart is your clear commitment to promoting the arts and arts education everywhere you go. In 1994, you co-founded High Five, Tickets to the Arts, a program that has enabled access to the arts for students across New York City. Additionally, you conceived the Uniquely You Scholarship, which enables New York City students to attend summer arts programs. For New York Public Radio, you created the WQXR Instrument Drive, which collected, repaired, and redistributed more than 6,000 musical instruments to local public schools and community music programs. The project garnered worldwide attention, with one donation even inspiring the Academy Award-nominated film Joe's Violin. In Boston, you oversaw the creation of radio programming for GBH Boston to showcase the music of the Harlem Renaissance. And in Miami, during the COVID-19 pandemic, you created Miami Art Strong, a collective of more than 100 South Florida art organizations that kept the arts accessible to audiences worldwide during lockdowns. It comes as no surprise then that you have been in demand as a consultant, working with the singer-songwriter James Taylor and organizations as prestigious as the Library of Congress with their outreach needs. As a speaker, lecturing at NYU and at Pace, Roosevelt, and Northeastern universities, and as an author, sharing your experiences and wisdom in publications including the New York Times best-selling book, Warren Stories. Your commitment to elevating the arts in people's lives across the country is why Barnard is so proud of the record you have built over the past 35 years. Today, as we celebrate your 35th reunion, we are delighted to honor your achievements as an activist and leader in the arts with the 2023 Distinguished Alumna Award. Although Kathleen isn't able to join us today, we are grateful to share her acceptance speech with all of you. Please turn your attention to the big screen behind me.
Good afternoon. I wish I could be there with you today, but I'm in Jordan right now experiencing its art, culture, and history, things I learned to appreciate during my time at Barnard. I want to thank the Alumnae Association for this incredible honor. When I was a student, I never dreamed that 3 decades later, Barnard would still be such an important part of my life, let alone would honor me in this way. It seemed as though there were always women around me who were smarter, more driven, more creative. When I graduated, my friends were off to live their career dreams or further their education, but I stumbled forward. I had some successes, but I also had my share of setbacks. Sometimes I felt alone in the world, but I wasn't alone. I had generations of Barnard sisters behind me, cheering me on, and I had the lessons I learned at this school. Chief among them was to always move forward, to think deeply, and to use our place in the world to make a difference. Each one of us who walks through the 116th Street gates, out onto Broadway and into the world, has done that in our own way. My path was unexpected and circuitous. It brought me incredible opportunities to travel, chances to meet so many of my idols, and to enter spaces I never expected to find myself. Sitting in the audience at the Oscars waiting for a film I helped bring to life be called was a surreal treat. But nothing has meant so much to me as the opportunity to make a difference through sharing art. We have so many differences in this world, but art unites us, gives us avenues to communicate and understand each other, and to feel the full gamut of human emotions. Art has always been used as a tool of cultural exchange, communication, and education, yet the arts are often forgotten when times get tough and budgets get tight. Through the nonprofit I co-founded in 1994, High Five Tickets to the Arts, and the program I created for New York Public Radio, the WQXR Instrument Drive, I've watched many thousands of young people access the arts, often for the very first time. During the early days of the pandemic, when so many arts organizations had to close their doors, I created a digital community for Miami's arts groups to continue to share their work and for audiences to experience it. I don't know if we changed any lives or not, But I do know that more access to art makes our world a better, more understanding, and more empathetic place. And that does change lives. I imagine my life will take more turns. There may be more setbacks. Hopefully there'll be more successes. But no matter what happens, I know my Barnard sisterhood is with me, and I'm excited to be there for them as well. I'm so proud to be part of this school, and the school is so much a part of who I am. Thank you.
Finally, our last award goes to Lisa Najovitz, Barnard class of 1983. On the occasion of your 40th reunion, we applaud your expertise in clinical psychology and are pleased to honor your many achievements. After Barnard, you earned your PhD from Vanderbilt University and then began a stellar career as a research psychologist, including serving for 12 years at the Veteran Affairs Healthcare System, Boston, and for 25 years as a faculty member at Harvard Medical School. Currently, you are a Director of Treatment Innovations and a Professor of Psychology at Boston University, as well as a faculty member at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. Through 200 professional publications, including the book, A Woman's Addiction Workbook, Finding Your Best Self, and Seeking Safety, you've built an impressive reputation as a leading expert on substance abuse, trauma, behavioral addictions, community-based care, and the development of new psychotherapies. In particular, your Seeking Safety therapy model has become one of the most widely implemented evidence-based treatments for substance abuse and trauma. As a testament to your sterling reputation in your field, you've been elected president of the Society of Addiction Psychology of the American Psychological Association, and you've been called to consult numerous national and international organizations, including the Surgeon General of the United States and the United Nations. You have also been honored with numerous awards, including the 2004 Emerging Leadership Award from the American Psychological Association Committee on Women, and the 2009 Betty Ford Award of the Addiction Medical Education and Research Association. In the past, you have written, quite movingly, about your motivation to help others, and you have done exactly that, changing lives for the past 40 years in a way that makes all of us at Barnard proud. Today is a pleasure to celebrate your milestone 40th reunion and to thank you for your contributions to the field of psychology with the 2023 Distinguished Alumna Award. Lisa, will you please join me on stage?
Thank you. I am so grateful for the award and most of all for my time at Barnard. And I'll share with you two particular experiences with great fondness. First and most of all was the focus on the humanities. It completely transformed my life and my career. My entire Barnard education was the humanities. I majored in history, I minored in English, I took languages, philosophy, education, and writing. Barnard was truly a community of shared values. Reading difficult works, asking difficult, big questions, sharing perspectives across time and across cultures. And it felt like the air we breathed. It was so pervasive, and it influenced the rest of my work. So when I went into the field of clinical psychology, I think to the extent that I've had success, it was because of the ability or the effort, the approach of trying to meld that background in the humanities with a very present-focused approach that exists in the science and evidence base of psychology, where what's most important is what's new, what got discovered recently, new studies, new emerging themes. So what I tried to do was pull in some of these universal humanistic themes and connect them with work in trying to understand in the present how to help people recover from trauma and addiction. So Seeking Safety, the book that has been the pivotal part of my career, tries to identify themes like that, the divided self, creating meaning, what are healthy relationships, What is recovery? What is healing? And these are universal questions. I also brought to the writing what I learned at Barnard, which is every word matters. It's an opportunity to connect with the reader and to develop a very acute BS detector so that you know when you're not being real or not being true. The second aspect I'll mention of my time here comes from my time on the cross-country and track team, and of course it's a cliche, the metaphors that one derives from sports, but all the more true. So one day we were starting our practice and I said to our coach, Kate, I'm feeling nauseous. And I was hoping she would say, okay, take the day off. But instead she said, oh yeah, just throw up on the side of the course and then get back on and keep running. So that has been a wonderful metaphor when I have faced challenges in my career. So with great fondness, I say thank you to Barnard to the extent that my work has helped others. Barnard was a key foundation of that, and I am deeply appreciative.
Congratulations, Lisa, Naomi, and Kathleen, and all of this year's award recipients. We're very proud to claim you as our own. And now I'd like to turn it back to Amy Veltman.
Congratulations again to Linda, Jessica, Gabriella, Lisa, Naomi, and Kathleen on your remarkable contributions to both Barnard's community and the world. And I thank all of you, especially the stalwarts that stuck around for being here this afternoon. With the conclusion of our awards presentation and our official business meeting, I invite you to enjoy the rest of the day's events. If you want to find out what they are, visit reunion.barnard.edu to see what's coming next. Thank you all so much. Thank you, President Bila.